Hello, everyone, and welcome to another lesson. I'm very happy to have you here with me today. Today, I have a great workflow for you guys. Today, we're going to build a newsletter AI agent that is responsible for creating a newsletter for us. It could be daily, it could be weekly. You specify that. It's down to user preference. Newsletters are very important, and especially in the last year, newsletters have been booming with platforms like Beehive, Substack, and ConvertKit. I think what's important to understand here about newsletter is that newsletters are audience that you have more ownership towards because you have the emails. A lot of our social medias, let's name TikTok, Instagram, even YouTube, you have tons and tons of subscribers, but you don't have access to your subscribers. Algorithm changes can just mute your posts, mute your content, so it doesn't get delivered to your audience. But with newsletters, with email, you always have the address. So you always have the address of your user that has subscribed to you. Now this gives more responsibility towards you and what you do with that email, and gives the user the ability to leave your email list whenever they want. But it also gives you also a greater access to your user. Nothing stands between you and your user. There's no algorithm changes. There's no platform changes. Nobody can ban you from the platform. You always have that email. If you're not happy with the tool, the newsletter tool, you can just export the email and move to another one at your own with your own preferences. Okay. So that being said, newsletter are huge. They give you so much leverage. Today we're gonna build a new system and a new AI agent that allows you to create a newsletter. Okay. So first of all, I'm now in a new workflow here in n8n. I have my first step, which is the trigger step. So the trigger step is the first step that starts the workflow. It could be an external trigger, so like a webhook, something coming from a website, or it could be on a schedule, or it could be manual. So there's a lot of triggers, and here you can see a lot of what triggers your content, and you can see a lot of ways to trigger it. In our case, since it's a newsletter, probably we're going to start with a schedule, okay? So the schedule here, we can say, like, for example, I want a weekly one, and I want it to go, for example, on a Tuesday, and I could specify at what time, like, for example, noon at 9 p.m. And this will make sure that the newsletter runs at that time. Let's name our workflow. So I'm going to name it newsletter workflow build. All right. So now we have everything ready to go. We have our trigger and we have everything. So guys, I want to start with some facts. So some information that's already out there on the internet, on the SERPs, and base the newsletter on those facts. And the best way to do that is through Tavily. So if you don't know what Tavily is a great way for you to search the web. It's like doing a search on Google or on those browsers, okay? Now, Tavily here is a community node. I think you just need to install it. Okay, it's been verified. You have lots of actions here. What we want is to do search. Now, you need to create your own credentials here. You only need the API key. Okay, so you just go to Tavily and then create an account and get your API key and put it here. And that's all you need to do. It's very simple. They give you free credits when you start as well for you to test. So now that we have our account selected, we want to do a search and we want to specify what we want to search for. So let's go with, for example, AI agencies. Okay. So here we have lots of options to pick from. Let's choose a topic here. We can choose general, news, finance. I want to go with news. So I want this newsletter to be about trending news coming up. And I want time range. I want the past week. I think that's enough for us to start with in terms of topics. Okay. I can execute this step, and there you go. We have our results here. It gives us the URL, the title, and the content, which is perfectly what we want. I'm going to pin that result. So let's name this as search topic. Okay, so this gives us the search topics that we want. We only want 3, and we'll take 3. So let's go to first. Now we need to create an AI agent. So basically, the idea is that this AI agent will pick topics will take the topics from Tavily here, and will give a title for each of those research that Tavily did for us. So I'm going to name this topics agent, and it's not connected to a chat. I want to specify the prompt below. So what I want is I want to give it whatever we have from here. So to do that, I want to give it in this way. So here's the research, and I'm feeding these one by one. So here, as you can see, there's a result array here. There you go. And in each of these, there's a result. Okay, what I'm feeding it here is I'm saying the first one, I take the title from here. It's the first one here, as you can see, because it's an array. I'm taking the title, the URL, and the content. And then I'm going second one, I'm doing the same, but I'm changing only the number 2 in the array. And also the third one, I'm taking the last one in the array. Okay? So what about the prompt here? So I have an already existing prompt I wrote for this. So I'm going to add a system prompt, like a system message here, and then I'm going to paste this. So what this does is I'm telling it that I basically want you to create a title that summarizes each of these content pieces that we have. And I'm saying that it should be this JSON. So since I require a specific output, I need to say require a specific output here. And then I first connect the brain. Oops, I wanted Opera Router. So Opera Router is a great way to have all your models in one place. So I'm going to select the account. In case you don't have one, you can go create one. So I have the Opera Router node now set up. And then what I want to do is, since I require a specific output in terms of JSON, I will create a structured output here. And then what I'm saying is I want the title and I want the topics, and I'm saying that the topics needs to be an array. Okay? So this is the format of an array. If you're confused about this, I have a course on that in my community. You can check that out. So this would basically do it. So I connected GPT 4.1 mini. It's good for that. So let's run this. There you go. So as you can see, it gave us 3 topics here. So I'm going to pin this, and it gives us a title. Okay. All right. So that is perfect. So now I have 3 topics here that are nested inside an array. So I want to split them out. So I'm going to say split, and I'm going to bring this array inside of here, and I'm going to execute this step, and it will now be 3 items. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is create another Tavily search, because now I want to search each of these items. What I want is I want to search these items here from the split out node, and I want the topic here to be general. I could leave it as is, or I could just remove this and it will be defaulted to general. As for the time range, I have more time in here, so let's put a month. Okay, so that would be 3 per, it will do it 3 times, but I forgot one thing. So I need to add the include draw content. So what this means that here, as you can see, the content here is not full. When you include draw content, so it will get you the whole result, okay? Which is exactly what we want. So I'm going to run this again. See, now it took more time because now it's getting everything. There you go. Now we have everything we want, raw content here. So I'm going to pin this so we don't have to do it over and over again. So now that we have search the SERPs through each of these topics, now we can start by writing each of those ones into different sections. And for that, I need another AI agent. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Okay, so I'm going to connect this to here, and I'm going to name this AI Copyright Agent. So since this is a copyright, I like to use Claude because it's very, very good in terms of writing. So I'm going to use Claude 4. Okay. And for this one, basically what I'm going to feed it is exactly what I got from here. So I'm going to do the same. Here's the research. So I'm going to first one, the URL, the content, and notice here I'm getting the raw content. Okay. Make sure that you have that. And I'm doing it for the 3 that we get. Okay. So sorry, let me check 1, 2, and then let me put here 3. All right. So now we fed it everything we need. Now we need to give it a system prompt. And the system prompt here is a bit lengthier because I gave it that it needs to go over each section and to include facts and, information about how, but you don't have to worry about the prompts because they will be included inside of the workflow. And I'll provide that inside of my community. Okay. We don't need this. We don't need a structured parser here. So let's run this and it will do it for each of those because we have 3 items coming in here as well. So let's do that. So now it will run and it will create a section for each of our topics that we provided it. All right. It's now doing the magic, doing the Claude magic. It's now going over each of those items that we fed through here. Here. And it will create a research based on that. All right. So it finished. Let's see. There you go. Now it gives us 3 items and each one will be about the topic that we fed it through Tavily here, which is perfect. So now that we have 3 items, let's now bring everything together by aggregating everything. And what aggregation is, it's basically putting everything, sorry, I'll put all items together. So it's basically putting everything together in one data set. Then let's pin this so we don't have to do that again. And what we want to do now is, now that we have the sections, we have the titles, we have everything, let's now make an agent to do as the editor part. Okay. So I'm going to go to AI and I'm going, let's actually copy and paste this one here so we don't have to repeat. Okay, so now I connected this. I'm going to name this as editor agent. And for the editor agent, what we want to do is basically provided the sections that we got from here. So what we're saying is here is the input. So section 1, and I'm providing it the first one, section 2, the second one, and this is an array, as you can see, with these brackets and number. So I'm providing it with all the section, and then what I'm saying is in the system prompt is I'm saying that you have everything you need, and the goal is to create 600, and you can increase this newsletter. And then I give it how I want it to be structured as HTML. I give it the date, I give it the HTML structure that I want, and I give it some rules to follow. Okay? Pretty lengthier, but you can find that all inside of the workflow provided. Okay? So for this one, I only need GPT-4.1 because this is only like editing. But what I want here, I want a structured way to output things, okay? And the reason, the way to do that is to just provide it that what I need is the title and the content. That's all I need, okay? And this is what I provided it to here, okay? So let's run this so we can see what it makes out of this. Okay, I need to unpin this from the further step and then redo this. So now it's creating the final newsletter bit. Putting everything together, stitching the titles, the sections that we got from here, everything in one full length newsletter that is really, really interesting and very well put. So here we have the title and we have everything. So let's send this via email. So I'm gonna send a message, exactly. And I'm gonna send it to myself. And I'm gonna put this as the title, the subject, and I want it as HTML, and I'm gonna put this as the body. Okay? So this would be send newsletter draft. Okay? So now I have that. Let's run this. So it sent it. So let me go to my inbox here. There you go. So there you go. So the title, the date, and all of the sections that we got with a conclusion and sources. Now, how awesome is that? Now, in case you want to get rid of this line here, that's easy. You go here and you specify add append and then turn it off. Append and attribution. So last step is to update our database. Always update your database. So I need to append a row in my database. I'm going to say update DB. And let me choose my account here. And then I'm going to choose newsletter. And then I'm going to choose sheet 1. And basically now I am only going to fill this up. Title with the title. The content here. But before I think, so the status would be to review. The date is easy. I just need equal and then now dot format, and this will give me the date. Now in case you want to add the hour, you can just HH to get the hour and then MM with a normal casing that will give you the hour. Okay. Now what I want is the content, but I have the content here as HTML. So I want to turn it to Markdown. So I'm going to use the Markdown node. So it will be HTML to Markdown. And then what I'm going to do is get the HTML in here, put that in here, and then execute step, and I will have the markdown version. So then I could just go here and then grab this and put it in here. Now I have that ready. Let me pin this so I don't have to redo it again. Saving costs here. Okay, so I updated my here database. Let me quickly clean things around. Okay, so I only need now to run this. So let's run the last note. Okay, so let's go to our database here. Perfect. As you can see here, let me remove this test row. We have the title. There you go. We have the date, and we have the content of the newsletter, and we have the status here. That is perfect. With every newsletter that we get, we'll get another row. How awesome is this? Now, look at here, guys. So we have this whole workflow. I'm going to save this so I don't forget. That is ready to run on a schedule. So I'm going to unpin these. This will run on a schedule. On every week, it will go ahead and get us the latest news about the topic that we specified. And then it will research 3 of those topics, give us information that is fact-based from the SERPs. It will write about them using the best AI model out there. We're using Claude 4. And then we're using another agents to get everything together, edit it so it looks perfect as a newsletter with all the citation, the conclusion, the parts, everything. It will send us an email about the newsletter, about the content and everything, the final version, and it will add it to our database. How awesome is that? Now, since everything is done here, there's nothing here to do. What I will do is I will click those 3 dots, download. And I'll provide this for you guys. So the only thing that you need to do here, the only thing is get your Tavily API if you don't have that. Get the Opera Router API if you don't have that. And then link your Gmail and Google Sheets. And that's it. Everything here is set up and ready. You only need to schedule it and forget about it. It will create a newsletter on a weekly basis. And then you choose the platform you want to use. Beehive, Substack, whatever. You go here, you copy the content, you copy the title, paste, and send. That's all you need to do. All right? I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. Of course, to import the workflow that I'll provide, you only need to click on these 3 dots and import from file. That's all you need to do. All right, if you guys enjoyed this one, give it a like, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.